I still remember the night everything cracked open like it was yesterday. My name's Nia Carter, and 5 years ago I thought I had the kind of love that people write poems about. We met in the library at North Shore University, me on tiptoe reaching for a battered copy of Pride and Prejudice, him sliding it off the shelf with that easy, boyish smile. His name was Ethan Markham, the heir to a construction empire who swore he wanted a life that meant more than money. We sat at a small table under fluorescent lights and talked about books until the sun came up. He called me brilliant. I called him my impossible Mr. Darcy. We built a life on that spark. First a tiny apartment above a bakery, then a wedding under oak trees with our best friends cheering us on. We didn't have much secondhand furniture, wobbly chairs, our own jokes, but we had each other. Even his family's disapproval didn't stop us. I'd tell him we're writing our own story and he'd kiss my forehead and whisper, "Forever." Then came the diagnosis. Rare autoimmune thing, only real treatment in Melbourne, 5 months of experimental therapy. I tried to be brave, but the night before I left, I crumbled in his arms, whispering, "Promise you'll be here when I get back." He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Nothing could make me leave you." The first month away, we were inseparable over the phone. Morning calls, late-night video chats, emails full of photos from our garden back home. But somewhere in the second month, something shifted. Calls got shorter. He sounded distracted, tired always, about to head into a meeting. When I asked if he was okay, he'd chuckle and say, "Just working hard, baby. That's when my best friend from college, Kayla Reeves, offered to help him out. He's killing himself with work. Let me cook. Let me keep the house from turning into a cave." She'd been my maid of honor, my ride or die since freshman year. If anyone could be trusted, it was her. I imagined her like a sister keeping an eye on him while I fought my way back to health. Fast forward 5 months. My last test results came back clean. The doctor smiled and said, "You're clear." I cried right there in his office. 5 months of injections, exhaustion, loneliness, and all I wanted was to get home. Treatment had finished a week early, so instead of calling Ethan, I decided to surprise him. I grabbed my phone, opened the family group chat, and typed "Flight lands at 5 a.m. Can someone pick me up?" Hit send. Smiled to myself. His reply came before my mother's heart emojis. 3 words that didn't make sense at first. "Don't come back." A second message followed. "I'm with Kayla now." I remember staring at the screen like maybe I'd been drugged and was hallucinating. This was the man who'd given up everything to marry me. This was the woman who'd held my hair while I puked through chemo in college. My knees gave out. I hit the carpet with my phone still in my hand. People think betrayal explodes. For me, it went silent like all the air got sucked out of the room. My mother called crying baby. "Come home to me, don't go back there." But under the shock, something else began to rise. A cold clarity. If Ethan and Kayla wanted a war, they had just chosen the wrong woman. 2 days later, I wasn't sitting on my apartment floor anymore. I was in a corner suite at the Grand Hyatt in Melbourne with a lawyer, a private investigator, and my bank on speakerphone. In 48 hours, I learned Ethan had drained our joint savings, mortgaged the house without my consent, and funneled the money into his company, and judging by Kayla's Instagram, into her wardrobe too. They'd been together almost from the day I left. So I did what any self-respecting, book-loving, betrayed wife would do. I built my own arsenal. I froze accounts, hired investigators, pulled every receipt and email. I wasn't just coming home to cry. I was coming home to collect. By the time my flight landed in Los Angeles, I was a different woman. Gone were the sensible skirts and soft smiles. In their place, a sharp black suit, a new bank account in my name only, and a plan. My first call was to Marcus Lim. Ethan's old best man turned rival developer. Marcus had always liked me. He used your money to fund his new girlfriend. Marcus barked over the phone. Say less. I'll make sure he loses his biggest contract this quarter. The hits started landing fast. Ethan's lender called in the illegal loan. Suppliers cut him off. The building where his company was headquartered quietly changed hands to me through a shell corporation, and rent tripled overnight. Meanwhile, Kayla's old employer in New York mysteriously blacklisted her from the industry. I made my public re-entry at the city's biggest charity gala. Midnight blue gown, diamond earrings catching every flash. Conversations stopped as I walked in. Nia people whispered, "We heard about Ethan." I just smiled and said, "Sometimes people show you who they are. You can be bitter, or you can be grateful for the lesson. I chose gratitude. Every photographer got their shot. Every investor got the hint." From that night on, the story wasn't betrayed wife. It was brilliant woman who came back stronger. Women's groups tweeted support. Clients shifted their deals. Ethan was drowning and didn't even know whose hand was on the back of his head. Meanwhile, at home, Kayla was starting to crack. Federal fraud letters, eviction notices, headlines calling her a home-wrecking grifter. She started packing, crying to Ethan about how this wasn't supposed to happen. I imagined her in our old kitchen whining that she gave up everything for him while he stared at foreclosure papers printed with my name. Then I sent him a text from a burner phone, tomorrow 8 p.m. Riverside Park. Come alone. That's where he'd proposed to me 6 years earlier. That's where I'd end it. The night was damp leaves, slick underfoot mist curling off the river. He came walking down the path, hunched inside his coat, looking like a man twice his age. I was already on the bench, coat draped around me like armor. He stopped a few feet away. "Nia, stop," I said, holding up one hand. "You don't get to say my name like that anymore. I need to explain," he stammered. "Explain what?" My voice was quiet, but it cut through the park. "How you moved my best friend into our home while I was hooked to IVs. How you stole my money to build a future with her. How you texted me, 'Don't come back,' in a family chat." He flinched, tried to step closer. I rose to my feet, pacing slowly around him like a prosecutor circling a guilty man. "You know the best part. I didn't even have to invent a punishment. I just sped up the consequences you'd already earned." His shoulders slumped. "I made a mistake." "No, Ethan," I interrupted. "You made a choice. And now you live with it." For a second, the only sounds were the river and a dog barking in the distance. He whispered, "I still love you." I actually laughed, soft and disbelieving. "You love the idea of me, not me. Real love doesn't steal, doesn't lie, doesn't turn my best friend into a placeholder wife." He tried one more time. "Please tell me what you want me to do." I stopped pacing, leaned in close enough for him to smell my perfume. "I don't want you to do anything. I want you to watch." Then I turned my back and walked away, heels clicking on wet concrete. Behind me, I heard him choke out my name, but I didn't look back. That's not how queens move. These days, I'm rebuilding bigger than before. The literacy nonprofit I started is national now. I still grow flowers on my balcony, but I send them to women's shelters instead of one man's desk. People ask if revenge made me happy. The truth is, it didn't. It made me whole. It gave me my story back. And I'm sharing it with you because somewhere out there is someone scrolling on their phone feeling like their whole world just collapsed because of a text. I'm living proof. You can rise out of that rubble and build something better, sharper yours. So now it's your turn. If you were in my shoes, would you have done the same? Would you fight back or forgive? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me about the betrayals you've seen, the moments you stood up, the times you wish you had. Let's talk about what real justice looks like, what loyalty means, and whether money ever excuses betrayal. Because this isn't just my story. It's a mirror for all of us.